Welcome dudes. This video is going to be about spawnable types.xml and some of the neat little handy things you can do with inside it, such as make tactical helmets spawn with night vision goggles and battery, also a universal flashlight, put loot inside backpacks to change cars so they spawn complete with all their parts, to add loot into the back of the cars, and a few other little things. Plate carriers spawning complete with their pouches and a holster. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. So you're going to want to open NOTEPAD++, and you're going to want to get your spawnable types.xml, and I'd highly suggest to download it, copy it, put a backup somewhere, and then rename your original or the backup, it's up to you, with a different name, and then you've always got one you can revert back to. But we're going to take our spawnable types and we're going to drop it into NOTEPAD++. Right, so now in NOTEPAD++, you will notice at the very top of the file you'll see damage. Now this controls the damage of your server, whether loot spawns in damaged or whether it spawns in pristine. Now I think from 0.3 to 0.7 would be from worn to damaged. I think from 0.7 to 0.9 would be badly damaged, and 10 would be ruined, with 0.1 being pristine. So what you want to do is change this to 0.1 and 0.2. Oh, that was meant to be a 2. And your loot will now start to spawn in your server pristine condition, and you will not get any loot any less than pristine condition spawn within your server. So that is that for damage. Right, let's see about trucks. So if we Control F and then type in trucks. Sorry, why not? There we go. Truck. And we look at the trucks. The trucks have got wheels and all the parts already in place, but they don't spawn too well. So what you got to do is you got to come over to here and you got to change this to 1.00. 1.00 is 100%. So when you change the end of these items to 1.00, you're telling the server to spawn in this item at 100% chance of it being attached to the vehicle when that vehicle is spawned in. So let me just quickly get this done, and then I'll explain a little bit better. So there we go. So right, so we now have our truck. This is our truck, and the truck has attachments chance, and then an item name and a chance. So it's telling the truck to spawn an item at 100% chance that item will spawn, but then it's telling the item to be a wheel that has its own percent chance of being spawned. So if you put them at 1.00, you're telling the computer, you're telling the files to spawn in that wheel on that truck at 100%, and it will come in. So by doing it on them all, you've now told the truck to come in completely full and full of all its parts. Now you can do the same for the cars. So all the cars spawn pristine, all the cars spawn with all their attachments, but then you could make it a little bit harder for people by leaving spark plugs and batteries at 60. So the cars will spawn complete, but they may still need to find up to 2 parts to operate the car, to get the car going. So yeah, by changing these to 1.00, you've now changed your car from partly spawning in to fully spawning in. Now to add loot to the back of it, it's pretty simple. Just click the back of the attachment, go straight up to the top, Control C, press, go to the bottom, press enter, Control and V, and paste. Now I like to do this, it just keeps me into place. And we're now going to open up my personal list that well, not my personal, it's shared around, so if you do get your hands on it, you're welcome, quite happy to help. So now we're going to want to look for gas. So we want gas, don't we? We want gas. So we're going to look for gas. And it should be, there we go, gasoline canister. So we're now just going to replace that with gasoline canister. So now if we wanted to add another item to it, we just control copy and control paste, and we look for canteen. Copy canteen, and we now spawn the canteen in the back of the truck. And you just copy and paste, making sure all your lines are lined up, perfectly lined up. You don't want anything like this. It needs to all be perfectly lined up. And you've now got a car spawning in with all of its doors, all of its wheels. It may need a car battery and it may need a spark plug. It has a 60% chance of spawning the two, but everything else spawns in at 100%. So that is how you do cars and trucks. Also, if you wanted to add loot to the back of the truck, you do it the exact same way as the car. You just copy the last item, go down, paste that, change them for X's so you know where you are, and you could put a can of cat food in there. So that is how you would adjust your cars to spawn in full inside your server with loot in the back. Right, now let's get straight onto something else. Now I'm going to copy the sedan from the type all the way down to the bottom type. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go to the top of my file. I'm going to make a new entry, and I'm going to paste that in there. I'm then going to copy on the left hand side of the type the spaces, click here and paste, and that realigns everything back up, and it makes sure that your file, your code within inside that file is straight, nice and neat and tidy. So now we're going to delete most of these items. I'll tell you what, we'll just delete it right up because we're showing you what to do. We're going to delete right up, and we're now going to have a sedan with one wheel spawning at the top, but we've already got our car down there. That's not what we want it for. What we want it for is we want to now go and find vests, and we want to get a vest, and we want to replace the car with the vest, and we want to replace the wheel with the pouches. We then want to copy the pouches, make a new entry, paste it, copy the holster, and you have now got a plate carrier that spawns complete with its pouches and holster. So we will now copy that again, and same as before, we can line it back up by copying the spaces on a previously written OK code, and make sure it's all lined up. And now we're going to look for helmets. Copy. We're going to place the helmet as the item that we want to have spawning around, that we want to attach stuff to. So now we want to look for lights. Copy that, and we want to place the light on there. And we want to copy a battery, and we want to place a battery on there. And then we can copy all of the items both items, make a new entry, and we can now replace that with a night vision head strap. Where was we? There we are. No, sorry. Yeah, what an idiot. I needed to copy that again. And then, like before, make sure it's all lined up. So don't ever guess. So make sure it's lined up. And then we want to make sure we get a night vision head strap. We want to remove the universal light because that doesn't fit to a head strap. And that's that. We now have a night vision head straps with a pair of night vision goggles and a battery. And then we have a tactical helmet with a universal flashlight, night vision goggles. And a battery, and we have a plate carrier with plate carrier pouches and plate carrier holster all attached. So if you wanted to, you could copy this again and you could stick a battery with inside. So now we're gonna go and find bags. Oh no, I want the actual bags at the top of the file, please. Somewhere here. There we go. So we're going to take the mountain backpack green and we're going to copy that, and we're going to delete the mountain backpack. We're going to place the mountain backpack up here, and we're going to copy this and we're going to paste that like that. We're going to then copy the items and replace this with them items. So now we can put whatever items we want in that backpack. So we're going to have it spawn a field shovel, a hammer, and so on. And here's a little tip for you. Here's something I like to do. I like to place a couple of these X's, and then that way all I've got to do is add an item to what I want to add it to, copy the bottom one, enter it again a couple of times, making sure all the lines are lined up, and then we can just double click and we know where we're up to. So yeah, that is pretty much how simple that is. We've now got a mountain backpack spawning around the map with a little tool handout. So final thing I'm going to show you is guns. So if we was to control F M4A1 and find the M4A1, notice it's just like the truck. It's got chances of spawning items. Change that to a 1.00, and now this M4 is going to spawn in with a buttstock, a handguard, a carry handle, and a magazine. So we want to add a ghillie gun wrap attachment to that M4. We want to change the magazine to a 60 RD. Can we search it like that? 60? No. Mag. I do have it. There is. Ah, it's not got 60 on it, that's why. And we can change that mag for that. And we can change the carrier handles for optic. And we could change so it has a wrist guard, but then we can copy the wrist guard because we know that you can put a universal flashlight, there we go, attached to the gun. So we do that, and then we put a battery in it as well. And then we'll copy the ATOG, and we'll put a battery in that as well. And once you've done that, you now have an M4 spawning with all its parts, all its attachments that you decide what you want to put on. Let's have this one. And you can do that to every gun. So every gun that can have an attachment for a ghillie rag, you could put that on to every gun. It's that easy. And then you would save your file, and then you would validate your file, and you're done. You're ready to put it into your server and enjoy the new loot.